Hello and welcome at my third video of the Next War Poland. And today I'm going to play Operation Baltic Storm, retaking the Baltic scenario, which is virtually the opposite thing to the previous scenario. In that scenario we were conquering Baltic states, and here we are going to take them back from Russians with NATO, mostly American forces. And there are no Polish forces in this scenario. I was quite surprised because of that, but well, I think maybe they are fighting Russians that are attacking Poland. So this is going to be a job for US forces. In this scenario we're going to use Naval Rules. And Naval Rules are, well, they aren't very hard, but they were, I think, quite not very clear in the rule book, so they can be quite tricky. I had a lot of problems with understanding Naval Rules when I played this game for the first time. I'm still not fully sure if I understand everything well, because the problem with them is that rulebook lacks any of the examples. When you have some tricky rules, it is best when you put one or two examples, and then a player might understand it with ease. But problem with Next War Poland is that rulebook lacks of such samples. It is quite hard to understand the things that are not perfectly clear. So the basic is that in the one movement segment, your naval unit might enter one sea zone. Sea zones are these parts of the map, like Bornholm Basin, Southern Baltic, Northern Baltic, or so. And when you entered from one zone to another, you can't move to any further zone. But you also can move into inshore boxes that allow you to interact with land areas. As you can see, sea zones can be also controlled. So in this scenario, NATO controls Bornholm Basin and Southern Baltic, while all the other zones are contested. Also, the Gulf of Finland is permanently under Russia control, while North Sea is permanently under NATO control. There is one more thing to remember in this scenario, that for these sea rules, and for this particular game, that player has to take control over zones with one to another. So you can't control Southern Baltic if you don't control Bornholm Basin, and you can't control Northern Baltic if you don't control Southern Baltic, and so on and so on. That's a thing you should remember before playing, because it's something that it's easy to forget. Okay, let's take a look on our forces first, because we have quite a number of units in this scenario. We have two American mobile division, 82 and 101. 101 is air mobile. As you can see, it has in-streak helicopters, so they can move very far. We have also one Marines division, and it's sea units that can transport them. We have two German paratroops regiment, and a number of NATO units from Rapid Reaction Corps. That's quite a number of quick, fast and good units, but none of them are very strong. As you may see, most of them are infantry, light infantry units, so we lack of heavy units in this scenario. But Russians are not very strong. Russians have 3 airborne divisions that are spread all over Baltic states, and they are supported by the small number of the mechanized motorized units and even one armored brigade. Not very much, and they have a bigger part of land to defend, So NATO might use the speed of their movement and to capture as many lands as possible. Victory conditions are virtually the same as in the previous scenario. You gain victory points for controlling Baltic states land areas, and the number of the victory points is the same to the number of the turn. So you get 1 point for each land in the first turn, 2 points for each land in the second turn, and so on, since we have only 2 turns in this game. So this is quite a short scenario, since NATO player, because of that, NATO player has to act very fast. He has 2 turns only to capture as many land areas as possible, and good thing is that both of these turns are initiative turns. So he will be able to move a lot of his units. Okay, that would be all. Oh, maybe I should, speaking about some introductory stuff, we have 8 air points for NATO and 3 air points for Russia. And also we have here, you can see, a carrier group at the North Sea and NATO Sea group in Poland. They will be used to transport our marines somewhere onto these land areas through the sea. So, let's start the game. So, we are starting with weather phase. This is not a concern for us because weather is clear for both of the turns according to the special scenario rules. Next is supply phase, it is optional, we are skipping this. And next we have initiative air naval phase. Initiative is is for allies for the both turns. Next we have air points. These are fixed, as I showed you before. And next we have superiority level. It is advantage for allies. And next we have sea control. This is not a problem for this turn, because it is said that in the turn 2 we are not making rolls for sea control, so that's the thing we can skip. Next we have a mine clearance, that's not a problem. So next we have initiative, movement and combat phase. We are starting with initiative movement segment. So I have a lot of NATO units that I can use, and the question is what I'm gonna do. I think I will first move these 2 brigades here to Sudowa, so they will be able to attack this Russian brigade, and I'm going to make an airborne paradrop this unit to Augstotia. So I have to make a roll for air defense. Flying side has advantage. It is good, and let's say I will spend 1 air point for escort. That would increase my chances. If mission no, and yes, I get -1 because I flew over the enemy controlled land, so I get 0 modifiers. So I'm gonna make a roll, 3. That's fine, I reach it. And next I have to make a paradrop roll, and I'm landing in the raw woods. So this might be a problem. 6 -1, so this American unit loses 1 step, but it landed where it wanted. And next I'm going to well, these helicopters will stay here, and next we're gonna move with 101st Division, and where they should land. I think I will make them fly to Kurceme and through Southern Baltic. Why? Because while I can fly on the strategic display through one land area or season before reaching my final destination. So I can move here and here, or here, or here, like that. So I can move here and here. So they are landing there, they are safe. But I have to move, standard air defense fire, standard game air defense fire. Check. I have an advantage. I have 5, so they are safe. And next we have these 2 other brigades. So where I want them to land. And now that's something I'm not 100% sure about, but rules, like I said, leave some place to wonder. So I'm going to move these 2 units here. According to the rules, I can land in the enemy-controlled area, land area, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a roll for air defense, of course, since I flew over enemy-controlled land which has enemy unit there. So I will give them two points of air defense, one for each other, and first for this unit per escort point. Target in the no. Yes, so I have 0. I rolled 4, so they are fine. And now for them, 9. They are fine. So that would be all for them. And next, I am going to use my Marines. Or maybe first I will move this. To remember about this, I will move this carrier group to Bornholm Basin, and next I'm going to move my Marines. They are in the amphibious units, and these amphibious units have load of 4, so I can load 4 stacking points into each of these counters. It is fine because Marines units, as you can see, are quite small when it comes to the stack, and they are in general they are weak. They have not very much strength, but they have amazing combat efficiency, so they might be quite useful. So I'm moving to the inshore box from Poland, and next I am moving them to the southern Baltic, and next I am moving them to the Żemitia inshore box. So they will land here and perform landing amphibious assault in the combat phase, in the combat segment, and the other group moves here as well. But I'm not going to load them anywhere. I plan to use them further on the north. We will see if it will work. And this is my friendly controlled sea areas, sea zone, so I don't have to roll for anything. This is my land. Okay, and next I have these 2 German airborne units that I'm going to move to Poland for now. And next I have my NATO units that are in the holding box, and that's another thing. Now let's assume I would like to make an airborne attack with this. NATO player has 6 air transport points, so I already spent 1 to make 1 airborne the paradrop in Augsburgia, so I have still 5 points to use. So I think I will take these 3 groups and I will make them land or maybe I take more, and I land, try to place 2 of them here and 2 of them there. Now we'll see if it will work. First I have to roll for standard game air defense. So first for this Italian 6, they did it. Next for this, these are Canadians, I think. Yes. Oh, sorry, I can't see, but I think they are Canadians. 8, they are fine. And now the harder thing in the paradrop. 8, so they are losing 1 step. And now for them 1, they are fine. And now here, now for the first for air defense, now for first them 3. Oh, gonna check. This will be -1, and this is still they are fine. And now for this British unit 4, they are fine. So next for the paradrop, first this unit 8, 1 step lost, and now this, oh my, 9, 1 step loss, so they are eliminated. Okay, I think that that's all when it comes to my movement. Yes, this is everything when it comes to the Allied movement in the initiative movement segment, and next we are going to have initiative combat segment. As you can see, there was much more things to do than in the previous scenarios, just in this one movement segment. So we are starting our combat here. I'm gonna use these 2 brigades to attack this Russian brigade. So we have 3, 6 against 3. So we have 2 to 1 in the raw woods. And we have 1 column shift because of the combat efficiency difference, 7 against 6. And that's all when it comes to the column shifts. Next we are going to the Naval Modifiers. I'm going to use these helicopters to support them. Oh, why 0? Does it mean they failed? 0, 0 advantage. Yes, they failed, so I'm going to use the other combat helicopters. 3, they did it, so I gain -2 because of the combat helicopters. And next we have Russians. They have only 3 air points for this turn, so they are not going to use them for now, and instead they will be used. No, they can't use combat helicopters because they are too far. They can be used only this here, here, or here, or here. So no combat helicopters for them. And next, additional modifiers. We have both light infantry here on both sides. Light infantry attacking in the non-flat wood city terrain. Yes, so we have -3. And light infantry defending in the non-flat wood city terrain. Yes, so we are returning into -2. We have only 1 formation on the attacker side, so no additional modifiers. So let's make a roll. 4 -2, it's 2. -1, retreat. So Russian unit just loses 1 step. Well, not good. I hoped to eliminate it, but it failed. Next combat we have here. We have 6 against 4. This is 1/2 to 1. And we have +2 column shifts because 7 against 5. So we move to 3 to 1. And Russians decide to use their artillery to support them, so they have 2-1, and NATO cannot use their combat helicopters support, because helicopters can support only units on the neighboring land area. So their combat helicopters are in Poland, but they can't come with help, but Russian helicopters can. So I will move them, and wow, that's bad. 0, and we have minus, and we are checking this in the firing side has advantage. So 0, abort, and star. So combat helicopters are suffering one step loss. And yes, NATO is using 1 air point. I'm gonna make a roll. 2. 2. Yes, we have mechanized unit here, so we have -1. So no, air point can't be used. So that's all. Also, we have light infantry attacking in the raw wood, so we have -1. Okay, that's all. Let's make a roll. 2 -1 is 1. So Russian unit suffers 1 step loss. Okay. These were... oh, sorry. Next we are going to make a land assault here. This is going to be raw, since I'm going to use this, and that group for assault. Their strength is halved, so they have half, 1, 1.5, 2, and 3. They have 3 against 3, so they have 1-1 in the raw woods, and I'm going to use this unit as a leading force, since it has combat efficiency of 8, which is amazing. They gain +2 thanks to this, and they will use their support of their amphibious units. It has a support of 2, so I have -2 thanks to them. I'm going to spend 1 air point to support this operation. 9, it is fine. And Russians are spending their 1 air point as well. They rolled 3. And there is naval enemy unit here, so they have -1, so they have 2. 2, when enemy has advantage, it is fail. And we have both light infantry, so the light infantry modifiers are nullifying each other. So that would be all. I'm going to make a roll. I rolled 1. 1 -3, it's -2. Sorry, I have -3 verse. It is 3 step losses and retreat. So enemy is eliminated, since he can get more. And Marines did their job pretty well. Okay, so next we have one more combat, or maybe even more. Let's move further north. And here I'm going to attack with these 2 brigades, this Russian brigade. I have 3 and 1, so I have 4 against 3, so I have 1-1 and -1. And NATO is using 1 air point. 5, it is 4, so it is good. Russia spends their last combat helicopter point. Wow, they failed utterly because it is eliminated. Okay, that's all. And we have light infantry on both sides. So let's make a roll for combat. Wow, 0. 0 is and -1, so I have, sorry, -2, so I have -2 in 1-to-1. It's one step loss on the attacker side and 2 step losses on the defender side. So I'm suffering 1 step loss and defender is eliminated. That was good. And I may attack here. It will be very hard, but let's try. 2 against 3, so it is 1-to-2 odds, no good. Oh no, I don't think I will. Okay, I declared the combat, so I should end it. 5 against 6, this gives another column shift, so I have 1-to-3. This is already very bad. Allies are not using air points, Russians are not, so we have both light infantry units here as well, so let's make a roll. 7, very bad combat roll. It is 1 and 1, so each side suffers 1 step loss. Russians and French airborne unit is eliminated. And that would be that would be all when it comes to the first initiative combat segment. And now we have elite unit reaction segment. So I can move Russian units that have combat efficiency of 6 or more. But do I have to, and should I? I don't think. Russians are trying to keep as many land areas as possible, so they won't move any of their units. So that will be all when it comes to the elite reaction segment. And next we have exploitation movement segment. In this segment I will be able to move my NATO forces again. So let's make Allied move. So I'm going to start here on the south. I will move these 2 German regiments here to Sudowa, and I will move 1 American brigade here from to Augstotia, and I will move this one here. So that would be all, and I'm going to rebase these combat helicopters in Żemitia. Okay, that's all when it comes to this part of the board. And now these Marines, I will leave 1 of their battalions here, I think, and move them to Riga, so they will be able to attack Riga. I will move this brigade. Oh, maybe I should do something else. I move 1 battalion here, these other units here, and they will join them. So I'm gonna use these Marines battalions as liberating forces. Okay, and that's all. Next, more on the north. These 2 Allied brigades are weakened, so they can't probably attack these Russians effectively. I think I might do something for this. Yes, I will try to paradrop this British battalion here. Let's make a roll for combat for air movement. 7. They flew. Now if they can land. Oh my! They failed, so they are eliminated. British paratroopers have a bad luck in this scenario. Okay, that's all. No, not all, because I have this group here, and first I'm not going to use these amphibious units anymore, because I don't have any more reason to use them as transport forces, so I'm going to turn them into SAC. So now they are just a combat group, and I'm moving them here to the southern Baltic, so they will be here, and and here, since they are moved from the southern Baltic to the northern Baltic, and they will be joined by this group and this amphibious convoy. And now they entered a contested sea zone. This site is controlled by nor Russians nor allies, but there is enemy unit here, so I have to make a roll for contested sea movement. And there is quite a number of modifiers here. I'm gonna read all of them. +1, -1 for each SAC CVN group. I'm going to use again my Dangling Modifier track to make a note of all modifiers that I will use it, because I tend to forget about them. Okay. First, I have 2 allied SACs, so I have -2. And I have 1 Russian SAC, so +1. Next, air supremacy, no. Allies have air advantage only. At last 1 inshore box, enemy friendly controlled. At sea box or associated all sea hex only. So we have no inshore hexes, no inshore zones controlled by allies, but we have inshore zone controlled by Russians. So we have +1, so we have 0. ASW level for allied and submarine threat level allied. These both are 4, as you can see here. So they effectively nullifying each other. So again we have 0. Oh, sorry, I placed them on the counter. Okay. Next, mine marker density. No, we have no mine markers. For each, if Gotland and Kaliningrad enemy controlled. And Kaliningrad is enemy controlled, by Gotland is not. So we have +1 for Kaliningrad. So there is +1, and non-allied cruise missiles and non-allied expand cruise missiles. So we don't use cruise missiles in this scenario, so that's all. And I have to make a roll with +1 modifier. I roll 1. Wow, this is good, because +1 it gives me 2. So if I get 5 or less, I have sea movement successful. And since my sea movement was successful, I will be able to make a further move, and I can move this group to the 1 inshore box in this land. I think I will move them to here, so they will be able to make some amphibious assault later in the combat segment. So I think that's all when it comes to the exploitation movement segment, and I can move to the exploitation combat segment. And now we have exploitation combat segment. I have to tell that I made some mistake. I shouldn't rebase these helicopters here, because this zone is still under enemy control. There is still Russian counter, so they can't move here. Sorry for that. And now we have exploitation combat segment. I have to remember, because I tend to forget, that that attacker gains a negative +2 column shift modifier because of the exploitation combat. So let's start with Sudowa. We have 2, 4, 7 against 2. It gives us 3-1. And we have 7 against 5. We have +/-2. And because of the exploitation combat we get +2, so it nullifies each other, so we have still 3 to 1 and -1 because of the odds. And now we have okay, allies are using their combat helicopters. 5, it is fine, so I have -2. And Russians have their combat helicopters. Oh, sorry, I put them wrongly. They are still here, and but they are too far to be used, so not a chance for them. And now I'm going to use air points. Russians have 1 air point, and they are going to use it. 6, they made it, so they have +1. And allies are using 1 air point. 2, 7, they made it. Okay, and now we have light infantry on both sides, so no modifiers for that. We have additional nation here because we have Germans and Americans, so we have +1. But they are all NATO forces, so they don't gain a negative modifier for different formation. And now roll. 8 -2 is 6. -1 -1. So attacker loses 1 step and defender loses 1 step. Okay, next we are fighting here. We have 3, 6, 8 against 2, so we have 4 to 1. And we have 7 against 5. This is -2. Sorry, this is +2. -2 for exploitation combat. And Russians are using their artillery, so we have -1. So we move to the 3 to 1. And next, Americans can't use combat helicopters, but they can spend air point, but they don't wanna. They wanna keep it. Russians are using their 1 last air point. 5, they made it, so they gain +1. And NATO has a light infantry, so they gain -1, so we have 0. And we have one nation, and I think now that's something that I'm not quite sure, but well, they are all essentially NATO, so they are 1 formation. So I'm not sure about this rule. This is something that I'm not quite sure if 2 American formations are different formations or no, because they are all NATO. Let's say they are 1 formation, so we gain no. I rolled 3. -2 for the defender, so this unit is eliminated in this, and this artillery is eliminated as well. Okay, this is good. Next we have here Riga. I have 3, 4, 6, 7. 7 against 8. This is 1 to 1. Sorry, 1 to 2. And next we have I'm going to use this one as a leading unit, so I have 8 against 5, so I have -3, sorry, +3, 1, 2, 3, and exploitation combat shift, so I have 2, so 1 to 1 again. And Russians are using their combat helicopters. Oh, they wrote 1, so let's check. Yes, they are eliminated. And NATO is going to use 1 air point. 2, no, it is not possible to use them. So that's all. And NATO has light infantry, so they gain -1 because of that. And again, I think they are 1 formation, but well, that's according to the rules. So let's make a roll. 3 -1, it's 2. So we have -1, -1. Russian unit loses 1 step, and NATO unit is eliminated. Marines unit is eliminated. Okay, and finally, oh, okay, sorry. Yes, I have one more attack here. I almost forget about my sea landing, my amphibious assault on Tartu. So we have all these units landing here. Oh, sorry, these are helicopters, they can't land. So we have, their strength is halved. So we have half, 1, 1.5, and 1.5 again. So we have 3 against 2. So we have 1.5 to 1. Let's check if there is any 8 combat efficiency unit. I think no. Yes, we don't have any. So let's going to use this battalion as a leading force. They have 7 against 5, so we have +2, and because of the exploitation combat we have -2. So that's when it comes to the column shifts. We also have NATO has one last remaining air point. I rolled 5, so they can use it. And they are going to use this amphibious group combat support. It has 2, so I have -3. We have both light infantry here units, so we have their modifiers are nullifying each other. Let's make a roll. Oh, 7. 7 against 3 is 4. So we have 1 step loss for each side. So this battalion is eliminated, and this brigade is eliminated as well. And I think, yes, that's all when it comes to the exploitation movement segment. And now we have reaction movement segment. So Russian player might move his units if he wants to. I think I will move this brigade here, just to make sure allies wouldn't keep this and control this Tartu area. And so they gain no victory points for that. And I think this is all when it comes to Russians, because they don't have many more stuff to do. And this group cannot move. According to the rules, this group is not able to move anywhere from the this area, only if it will be forced to retreat during the sea control check. But that's for later. So that's all when it comes to the initiative, movement and combat segment. We are moving to the basic movement and combat phase. So we have first movement segment, where allies might move their units. I forget about one thing, because I could move in the exploitation movement segment American carrier group on the southern Baltic, but I didn't. So I'm going to move it now. I should move it. If I would move it here in the previous movement segment, I would be able to move it into northern Baltic now, and I think I will do it. Sorry for well, bending the rules a bit. I'm sorry, I'm not bending a rule. This is all according to the rules. I just forget to make it. This is quite important, you will soon see why. And next we are moving to the land units. I need just a single unit in area to make it control, because I don't have to perform clearing operations in the friendly country. So all I need is one unit here, here and here to make sure it will return to normal. So I'm going to move this brigade here, this brigade here, so they will support this operation. I will keep these Germans here, and this unit will move here. I will move them here and here, and them here. So all I have is now, this will be enough for all these units to return to NATO. Now I have a lot of units here to attack these Russian brigades, but I will use them. I think most of them. I can use 6 stacking points in a single attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So I will move this marine unit here and these two here. And now I can even move these marines somewhere else. But no, I will help them to attack because they have 4 defense points, so it will be not enough for them to deal with them. And that's all. That's all when it comes to combat. Movement phase, movement segment. So I can move to the combat segment. I have a single combat here. So let's check. I have 9, 11, and 16. I have 16 strength points against 6. 16 against 6 is 2 to 1 and -1. Both sides spent their air points completely, so I can't use any air points in this combat, but well, I get a column shift because of the combat efficiency. I'm gonna use this brigade as the leading brigade. It has 7. Against Russians are using this brigade as leading, so they have 5, so I have +1 because of that. I have light infantry, so I get -1. And these are all NATO units, so they are 1 formation, so they gain no Naval modifiers. So let's make a roll. Oh my, 9 -2 is 7. -1, -1. So each side suffers 1 step loss. Damn. I hope I will be able to clear this Riga area completely in this combat, but seems I was not that lucky. Okay, so now we have another battle here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 7 against 4. It's 1/2 to 1 and -1. And I'm going to use this battalion as a leading force, so I have 7 against 5, so I have +2, column shift. No air support, and I have a lot of light infantry here, so I have -1 because of that. And as for different formations, USA, UK, Canada are in the same nationality, but I have Italians, so they are not same nationality by all means, so I have +1 because of them. So I'm gonna make a roll with -1. My god, 7. Again, another bad roll. No, not bad. Allies suffer 1 step loss, so this battalion goes out. And the defender suffers 2 step losses, so this brigade is out as well. So, I think it wasn't bad. Despite some losses, of course. And that's all when it comes to the first combat segment. And now we have second movement segment. In each defender might use his forces. So what I can do for Russians. They can't do much since they have little of units on board. I think I will move this brigade here, just to make this area contested. And that's all. That's all when it comes to the Russian movement segment. And now they have their combat segment, but I don't think they will attack anywhere. They are too weak to perform any successful attacks. So that's all when it comes to the second combat segment, and we are moving to the reorganization phase. We are rotating all helicopters and artillery. there are no artillery units on the board, so since all of them were, there was only one of them and it was destroyed. So remove air points marker, they are all down to 0. Reset air mobile points. Conduct clearing operations and determine hex control changes. We don't have to perform clearing operations on the allied countries, so NATO gains instantly control of this area, this area, this area, and this area. Also here and here. Maybe to remember, to make it clear, I will turn these markers on the NATO side, so it will be easier to see. And here we are removing control markers because these two areas are contested. We have units of both sides here, so no player will gain victory points for these zones, sorry, these areas, and that's all when it comes to reorganization phase. Next we have reinforcement and replacement phase. The Russian player gains 1 replacement point, and he can use it to reinforce this motorized infantry brigade. It will get 1 step back. And NATO gains no reinforcements in this scenario, so we are moving to the victory determination phase. And I need to check how many victory points each player gains in this turn. So NATO 1, 2, 3, 4, because it is flagged area, 5, 6, 7. So NATO gains 7 victory points, while Russia gains much less. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 7 to 4 to NATO at the end of the first turn of the scenario. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to record next part of this movie soon. If you noticed any mistakes or so, please give me a comment. I'm still not 100% sure about some stuff, so there might be some minor mistakes, I guess.